live from the new sports betting capital of the world.
You might be from Texas, but I'm from New Jersey.
Benny Ricciardi is here to break down the day's betting board for you.
Let's go, Jim. Go!
Taking a first look at the day's bets, it's time for the FTN Betting Show.
Welcome to the FTN Betscast for Friday, April 15th here at FTN Bets. It is the final day of the play-in games for NBA action, and we're going to start right there with the two games that we have today. We're going to go on and talk a little bit of MLB baseball after this, but let's start with the NBA action. The first game up today is the Atlanta Hawks traveling to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs have kind of backed themselves into the playoffs and did not look good in their first game in the play-in game. They have one more opportunity to make it into the playoffs as the number 8 seed by winning this game today against Atlanta. They are at home, so you think that would give them a little bit of a bump. Atlanta has won 3 of the 4 meetings between these two teams. You know, it was interesting. The first time these two teams met this year, Cleveland won that game in a very Cleveland Cavaliers style of game. It was very slow. It was 196 total points. It was low scoring, a defensive battle. That's really what Cleveland's identity was earlier in the year when they had Jared Allen in there. And Jared Allen, who has missed a good portion of time, is expected to be back here tonight and is going to give it a go and is going to try to play. It is a finger injury that he has. So, you know, it may not affect him blocking shots. It may not affect him grabbing rebounds. It probably will affect him, you know, trying to score around the basket a little bit there. But he is expected to play tonight, which is also going to take some minutes away from guys who have been picking up more. You know, Evan Mobley has been playing a lot more minutes when Jared Allen has been out. You know, this could affect guys like Lauri Markkanen and or Kevin Love, who have played less minutes earlier in the year when all 4 of the bigs were healthy. But they did have a better record and they were playing better when they did have Jared Allen in there. Also probably is going to lead to them being a little bit lower scoring because Jared Allen is a positive for them on the defensive end and kind of a neutral to negative player on the offensive end there. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out with him back. Now, again, he's back, but I don't know if that means he's going to play full minutes. I don't know exactly how many minutes he's going to play. I do know he will be out there on the floor for some minutes, but, you know, we're going to have to see. Remember, this is a guy who hasn't played in a couple weeks right now. So, you know, you never know what he is, even in conditioning and stuff. So a lot of things to look at there. On the other side of the game for Atlanta, John Collins remains out for them. Bogdan Bogdanović is listed as questionable. Again, this is an elimination game, so I expect Bogdan to play. But it was interesting to note that he did get a little banged up in that last game, played less minutes than you probably would have expected to see. You know, again, is he going to play? Yes. Is he going to be as effective as he always is? That's the question, and I can't really answer that for you. I don't know how badly it hurts. I don't know how well he's going to do playing through it. I still think he's going to score some points and do some positive things out there. I mean, he was out there on the floor towards the end of the last game as well, running the point for them when Trae Young was on the bench. So it's not like I think he's not going to play. But again, you'd rather have these guys at 100% than less than 100%. But at this point in the season, we take what we can get. So anyway, in terms of plays here for this game, like I said, Atlanta won 3 of the last 4 meetings between these two teams. They are playing decent basketball right now, whereas Cleveland is kind of on the slide. So, you know, when I look at Atlanta -2 here, I actually think there's a little bit of value on the Atlanta -2. You know, Atlanta won 3 of these 4 games against Cleveland this year. They beat Cleveland at Cleveland by 3 points there. So they would have covered the, you know, the -2 that we're seeing out here in the market right now. That's just the side of the game I like to be on. You know, that's where my money would go down. You can get this at DraftKings. You can get it at PointsBet. You can get it at Caesars, all at that -2 if you're looking to be on the Atlanta Hawks side. Now, I know some of my fellow handicappers over here at FTN are on the other side of this game. Double G, my boy Gio Gallant, is actually on the Cleveland side of this game. If you're with Gio and you're trying to get Cleveland, you can get them at +2.5 on both FanDuel and BetMGM. So if you want to bet the Hawks, take the -2 on DraftKings, PointsBet, and Caesars. If you want to bet the Cleveland side, you can get that +2.5 at standard -110 juice on FanDuel and BetMGM. Now, moving on to the prop bets for this game. You know, I was interested in Clint Capella, but the rebounds are up to 13.5. and it's way juiced up, like minus 120s, minus 135s already on the 13.5 for Clint Capella. Do I think he can go over that number? Yeah, probably. But I'm not willing to pay that much juice on a 13.5 number, which is higher than a 12.5 it opened last game, to kind of chase it here. I would not be shocked if he gets 15, 20 rebounds here today. But remember, Jared Allen's playing. You got Evan Mobley. Even guys like Kevin Love and Lauri Markkanen are rebounders. So this is not the greatest rebound game, the way that it sets up for anybody here. So not looking to chase the Clint Capella rebound over. Was happy that we cashed out one last time. I do have two other plays, though, that I'm going to be sticking with here on the Atlanta Hawks. Danilo Gallinari went over 15.5 points, cashed out for us last game. They dropped it down to 14.5 points today. You can get that at minus 110. So I like Danilo Gallinari to go over on his points again. Gallo doesn't do a lot of things well at this point in his career anymore. He's towards the tail end of it. But one thing that he can do is score. He's going to go to the basket and finish. He's going to make all his free throws if he gets fouled. And he's going to knock down a couple threes from deep on, pick and pops and things like that. So I do like Danilo Gallinari over 14.5 points. That's one prop bet that I'm playing today. And the other one that I'm going to be playing is also from the Atlanta side. And that's Kevin Huerta over 2.5 3-pointers made. He's made at least 3 in the last 2 games here. This is what this guy does. He's going to score 12, 15, or 18 points, depending on how many threes he knocks down. He's somebody that could stretch the defense. He's up to playing 30 minutes or so for them. And I think this is another one of those situations where I'd be looking for him to take 5, 6, 7 3-pointers in this game and hopefully knock down about half of them. That gets us over the 2.5. The other reason why I like this is you can get this number at plus 110. So I like the over on his 3-pointers at plus 110 here today. And that's the way I'm looking at this Atlanta and Cleveland game. Now we can talk about the other game here today, which is the New Orleans Pelicans taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. Let's see here. The Pelicans won 3 of 4 meetings between the Pelicans and the Clippers this year. Although the most recent meeting with Paul George back on April 3rd, the Clippers did win that one 119-100. So, take that with a grain of salt. It's one of the reasons why I don't really have a lean on this game on a side one way or another. If you do have a lean on a side in this game, the best price you can find the Clippers at is minus 3.5, minus 110. That's over on FanDuel. They're the only ones that still have it at 3.5, minus 110. BetMGM has it minus 3.5, minus 115, and everybody else has this game at minus 4. A couple of people have it at minus 4, juice down a little bit. But there's a lot of minus 4, minus 110 standard juice out there in the market as well. So the 3.5 on FanDuel does seem to be a little bit of an outlier. If you're on the Clipper side, get over to FanDuel, minus 3.5, minus 110, best price you can find on the legal books. As for the Pelicans side of this game, if you want to be there, like I said, plus 4, minus 110 on DraftKings, plus 4, minus 110 on Caesars. That's the 2 places that you want to play it. A lot of other books like PointsBet has a plus 4. Juiced up to minus 115. Unibet has a plus 4, juiced up to minus 113 here, which really leads me to believe, looking at all this right now, that the correct number in this game is probably like 3.75. So anything that's a 4, there's going to be a little bit of juiced up or there's value. So if you can get a plus 4 at minus 110, that's probably a pretty good number. And then, like I said, the FanDuel minus 3.5, minus 110 on the Clippers, the best number on that side. Now we can talk about the total here. And I got to be honest, I have no lean whatsoever on the total here. This is a tough one because here, let me read the totals in the 4 games to you. The first time these 2 teams played, the total was 175. And then it was 227. And then it was 202. And then it was 219. And the total today for this game, you can get, let's see, if you want to play an under, you can get it as high as 216.5 on FanDuel. If you want to play an over, you can get it as low as 215.5 on BetMGM. So this number is basically straddling 216, half a point to either side on the various books out there. And that's probably where the total should be here, right? Because we've had a couple games that have gone under that number by 10, 15, 20 points. And we've had a couple games that have gone over that number by 10, 12 points. So really that number is probably right on where it should be. And this is one of those ones that I stay away from. If you have a game like Atlanta, when we talked about the totals in the Atlanta game, 196 was the first game, but then it was 239, 240, 238. So the more likely number is probably up in that high 230 range there. So if you see a number like 223 on that Atlanta side today, we like the over there because, there's a good chance that this is going to end up 230 like 3 of the other 4 games did. There's really no rhyme or reason to the totals in the 4 games that they played here. And it's tough to really use the backwards looking data on these 2 teams here because remember, the Clippers played most of the season without Paul George. So some of those games that they played without him, they played very differently than they play when they have him. Paul George is not only a positive to them on the offensive side with what he can do with the ball in his hand, but he's also a positive to them on the defensive side, which is a negative to their opponent. So you got to adjust both sides of that with him in. And then even in New Orleans Pelicans, they traded in the middle of the season for CJ McCollum, who was a main cog in their blowout win in the last game there. McCollum now gives them another guy that can score the basketball, along with Brandon Ingram, kind of takes some of the scoring pressure off of him. Ingram, who also missed a lot of time this year, is back and looked really good in that last game. He had one dunk where he dunked over about 3 guys in the middle of the lane there, came back on the next play, took somebody to the basket, hit a short jumper. That's the kind of Brandon Ingram that was the number 2 overall pick. The guy that, he could beat you going to the hole. If you back him off, he could beat you that short mid-range game. Like, this guy just has so many positives in his game right now. And that's the thing. When you're looking at the past data for these 2 teams, you almost have to throw it out because the 2 teams, the guys that are on the floor, the team, the way it's constructed and is going to be playing today is very different than what we've seen from these teams throughout the season. Now, again, that's why I said that most recent game that they played on April 3rd is kind of a big one because that was the teams that you're going to be seeing out here today. And in that game, the Clippers beat them by about 19 points, 119-100 in that game recently. So it does give me a little lean to the Clippers side. But honestly, I'm staying away from totals and overs and all that in this game. I'm just going to stick with a couple prop bets. So let's talk about a couple of the prop bets that we like here. One of them is going to be that guy, Brandon Ingram, that I just mentioned. I think his points prop total seems to be a little bit low for me today. It's at 23.5 points. I thought it would be up more like 25 around where CJ is as well. It is minus 118 on FanDuel, minus 125 Caesars, minus 130 on BetMGM at that 23.5 number. I wouldn't doubt by the end of the day if this gets up to 24.5, maybe even higher. You might get 24.5 juiced up by the end of the day. So I would go take this 23.5 now if you have the opportunity to. FanDuel, minus 118, best price, Brandon Ingram over on his points. And then the other guy that I like is going to be Paul George, right? So Paul George, I'm looking at his 3-point prop. He had 6 threes in each of the last 2 games. He has 19 threes in the last 4 games. 3 of the last 4 games, he's been over the 3.5 number that we're looking at here today. He shot 19 of 34 from 3-point land in the last 4 games that they played. Listen, Paul George has been a guy that could always knock it down from deep, and he's been very good since coming back off the injury here. The other thing I like about this, 3.5 is a big number. I get it, guys. But you can get the over 3.5 at even money plus 100 on both FanDuel and Caesars today. I do expect this game to stay close. I expect it to have a decent amount of points being scored, and I expect Paul George to be one of the guys scoring a lot of it. I think his points prop today is like 27 or 28. It's a real big number. Not one that I think is too high that he can't get it. That's why I'm not playing it under there, and I'm not playing it over there. I think it's a good number for him. But if he's going to get to 27 or 28, he's going to have to knock down a bunch of threes to get there. And that's the way I think it happens. So I like the over 3.5 3-pointers here today for Paul George at even money on FanDuel and Caesars. And again, I'm not betting on a side or a total on this game here. There are too many variables, too many moving parts. If I was going to take anything, I'd probably be on that minus 3.5 on the Clippers over on FanDuel. But really, I'm just going to avoid this one. I think it could wind up going either way. So there you go. That wraps it up for the NBA portion of today's FTN Betscast Easter edition, right before our Easter holiday this weekend. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with a little bit of MLB action for Friday, April 15th. And welcome back to the FTN Betscast here at FTN Bets for Friday, April 15th. Time to talk a little bit of MLB action. First game we have up is the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the New York Mets. Mets, big favorite here today, anywhere from 225 to minus 240. Best price we can find on the Mets here today is going to be minus 225 over at BetMGM. If you're interested on the Diamondback side, 180 to 198 is the prices we're seeing on them. FanDuel has the best price on the Diamondbacks plus 198 today. Next game up is the Minnesota Twins and the Boston Red Sox. That's a 2:10 start at Fenway Park. Red Sox, small favorite in this game, minus 125, I think, is the best price I can find on them over on DraftKings. It's as high as minus 135 over on like PointsBet and Caesar. So you're getting a little bit of a better price deal there if you're on the Boston Red Sox side. Minnesota Twins, plus 105 to plus 115. PointsBet Caesars at that plus 115. Those are the best prices you can find on the Minnesota Twins if you're looking to be on that Minnesota side here today. Washington Nationals taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is one of my favorite bets of the day. I really like the Washington Nationals here. Not a fan of the Pirates. They should not be favored or close to being favored against anybody. You can find this actually, the Pirates minus 110 on BetMGM. BetMGM has this as a coin flip. Both teams have minus 110 out there in the market. I actually like the Nationals to win this game. So minus 102 on FanDuel is the best price you can find on the Washington Nationals. The highest is that minus 110 on BetMGM. The lowest is minus 102 on FanDuel. If I'm going to be on the side of this game, I like minus 102 on FanDuel for the Washington Nationals. Next game up, Philadelphia Phillies, Miami Marlins. Marlins favored in this game. Minus 130, minus 120 on BetMGM is the best price we can find there. It's as high as minus 130 on DraftKings, minus 125 on PointsBet Caesars, Bet Rivers, Unibet. So minus 120 on BetMGM, best price you can find on that one. I don't really have a lean in this game, though, so I'm staying away from it. If you want to be on the Philly side of this game, they're plus money everywhere. The highest payout, plus 110 on DraftKings is the highest payout. Everywhere else is between plus 100 and plus 110. DraftKings, plus 110. Highest number for the Philadelphia Phillies. New York Yankees, big favorites against the Baltimore Orioles today in Camden Yards. Let's see. If you want to be on the Yankee side, the lowest price we could find, minus 200 on BetMGM is the lowest price. Most other places, minus 210, minus 215 on the rest of the books. Baltimore Orioles are plus 170 to plus 180 everywhere. Plus 180 on Caesars is the best place to play the Orioles if you're interested in being on that side. Oakland Athletics against the Toronto Blue Jays today. Toronto, big favorite at home. Minus 200 all the way down to minus 180 on DraftKings is the best price we can find on them. So Toronto minus 180 on DraftKings if you're looking to play that side. If you want to be on the other side with the Oakland A's, you're getting plus 150 to plus 165. Caesars at plus 165 is the best price in the market for the Oakland Athletics. I like the Toronto Blue Jays to win this game. I don't love that minus 180 price. I'm probably just staying away from this one. San Francisco Giants and the Cleveland Guardians here. San Francisco road favorites in this one. Right around minus 150 on basically every book. Minus 149 on Caesars is the best price you can get if you're interested in the Giants. It's minus 150 to minus 155 everywhere else. So not much of a discount anywhere there. But again, best price is best price. For the Guardians, if you want to be on that side, there's a couple books that have them at plus 130, which is the best price out there. You can get that at DraftKings, at FanDuel, at PointsBet. Those are the places where you want to play the Cleveland Guardians. Plus 130, plus 125 to plus 130 is where they are basically in the market. So pretty tight spread on this game on both sides of it there. You know, like I said, if you want to play the Giants minus 149, I don't really think there's any value here, though. Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox at home, big favorites. Minus 140 on most books. The cheapest you can find it is FanDuel at minus 138. Save a couple basis points there on the Chicago White Sox side. Although, listen, I don't really want to play against the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm a big White Sox fan. I actually have them winning the entire American League and going to the World Series this year. But this is not one of those games where I want to chase them at minus 140. Tampa Bay, you can get plus 115 to plus 120. DraftKings, PointsBet, Caesars, Unibet, Bet Rivers, Sugar House, all have them at plus 120. So a lot of places that you can go to get that plus 120 on the Rays if you want to be on that side. If I had to choose, I would honestly say there's probably more value at the plus 120 on Tampa Bay. I'd rather be on that than the minus 138 on the White Sox, even though I do think the White Sox win this game. I just think that number is a little too rich. Next up, we got the Los Angeles Angels against the Texas Rangers. This one is close to a pick 'em, but a little bit of a lean to the Angels side here. Minus 115 to minus 120 are the prices you can get on Los Angeles. Let's see, PointsBet minus 115, the best price on the Angels today. Texas is sitting right around even money on a lot of sites. a little bit below minus 102 on FanDuel. Oh, plus 102. Here we go. Unibet has them at plus 102. So does Bet Rivers and Sugar House. So if you're looking to bet the Rangers in this game, take the plus 102 there. It's even money on most of the other books, and minus 102 on FanDuel, minus 105 on PointsBet. So you'd rather be playing this somewhere else if you can get the plus 102 there. That's the best price. Detroit Tigers, Kansas City Royals in this one. Detroit is the underdog here. The Royals are favored at home. Let's see, minus 125, best price I could find here. DraftKings BetMGM is where you can play that number. If you want to be on the Detroit Tigers side, plus 105, plus 110s, plus 114 on FanDuel, best price you can get on the Detroit Tigers. Next up is the St. Louis Cardinals against the Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers, pretty big favorites here. Minus 150, minus 152 to minus 160. Minus 152 number you can get on Sugar House, Bet Rivers, or Unibet. So that would be the side to play the Brewers. I would actually rather be on the Cardinals side. I think you're getting a little bit too much value here on the Cardinals. They're as low as plus 125 on BetMGM and as high as plus 140 on Caesars. So Cardinals at plus 140 on Caesars is worth a play for me here today. Most of the other books have this at 130, 135. Again, as low as 125 on BetMGM, but plus 140 Caesars, Cardinals, another bet that I like here today for MLB. Chicago Cubs, Colorado Rockies. Rockies favored in this game. Minus 120 is the best number out there. Some minus 125s, but you'd rather take the minus 120. You can get that on DraftKings, BetMGM, or PointsBet if you're interested in the Rockies. If you wanted to go to the other side of this game and play the Chicago Cubs, this game is at Coors Field. There could be a lot of scoring here. Also, a Chris Bryant revenge game on top of that. You can get the Cubs, let's see, plus 100, plus 108, plus 108 on FanDuel, plus 108 on Unibet, the two best places to play the Chicago Cubs today if you're on that side. I don't really have a lean in this game, so I'm going to be avoiding this one altogether. Atlanta Braves, San Diego Padres here today. This is a very evenly matched game. The Padres are slightly favored at home, as they probably should be. Minus 120 on most books. You can get it minus 115 on BetMGM and PointsBet, though. So if you want the Padres, BetMGM, PointsBet, the place to play that at minus 115. The Atlanta Braves are even money to minus 105 on a lot of books. They are plus 102 on FanDuel, Unibet, let's see, Bet Rivers, and Sugar House. So you could get the Braves at plus 102. FanDuel, Unibet, Bet Rivers, Sugar House. That would be the place to play that. Two games remaining here today. We'll talk about the Houston Astros and the Seattle Mariners first. Houston, road favorite here. Minus 118 is the lowest price I can find on them at at FanDuel. DraftKings, they're minus 120. A lot of other books, they're minus 120 or minus 125. So the minus 118 on FanDuel, best price in the market currently. For the Seattle Mariners, they are basically right around even money here. The best number we could get on them, though, is Bet Rivers at plus 104. Bet Rivers Sugar House has them at plus 104 here today. So if you're looking to bet the Mariners, that's the highest price you can get on them. Best number out there in the market. And that brings us to our last game, which is the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dodgers, massive favorites in this game, as high as 270 on some minus 270 on a couple of the books. The lowest price, the best price to play if you want to be on the Dodgers, minus 250. You can get that at BetMGM, Caesars, Unibet, Bet Rivers, and Sugar House. So minus 250 on the Dodgers. Again, MGM, Caesars, Unibet, Bet Rivers, Sugar House. That's where you can play them here today. The Cincinnati Reds are plus 200 to plus 215. The plus 215 is on FanDuel. That is the best place to play the Cincinnati Reds if you're interested in getting some money down there. I like the Dodgers, but I'm not laying minus 250. I'm definitely not laying minus 270, but I'm not even going to lay minus 250 on them. I just don't think there's any value there. Although I am pretty sure and, do think that they're going to win this game. I'm just not willing to lay that kind of money out to win that little. So there you go. That wraps it up for the MLB portion of the FTN Bets Cast for Friday, April 15th. And that's going to wrap up our show here today as well. So definitely make sure you get over to FTN Bets and check out everything going on over there. You can use promo code Benny to save 20% off on any one of our packages on FTN Bets, FTN Daily, or FTN Fantasy, depending on what sport you're looking for and what kind of, betting action you're looking to get into here on the day. So this is Benny Ricciardi signing off for the FTN Bets Cast. Good luck, everybody.
Live from the new sports betting capital of the world.
You might be from Texas, but I'm from New Jersey.